What's up, my peoples? I am Gandhi, and today this is Gandhi's Thoughts number 39. I got a lot of feedback yesterday, and I was looking through my YouTube comments, and one of the guys said, "Hey, do me a favor, talk about what separates pros from amateurs." I was like, all right. So I prepared for that all morning. I was really pumped up for it. And then he goes, "Oh, dude," sends me an email. He goes, "Hey, I know I said I wanted to do pros versus amateurs, but is there a way you could change it to finding your play style?" And I said, "Sure, man. Anything for you, bro." The reason I did this is just because I wanted to show people that I am actually interacting with them at all times. I know a lot of people always say, like, "Oh, yeah, I always look at my fans," but most of the time they don't. So I'm here, buddy. I'm listening to you, and I'm reading you. I see what you're doing. So anyways, moving forward here. So today we're going to talk about finding your play style. Now, play styles, they're definitely a little bit different than a lot of people give credit for. It's very, very unique, and this is why it's unique. So something that no one's ever going to tell you, and you're going to figure it out on your own, is that your play style depends on what's best for your team composition. Okay? I'm going to say that again. Your play style is what's best for your team's composition. So what that means is if you're a main slayer and you join a team, and you being the main slayer sucks on that team, give it up. Let someone else do it. It's not for you. Get out of there. Put down your ego. Tell yourself, listen, dude, I'm not winning games. I got to stop getting the sniper. Even though I may be the best, I guess I'm the best with it, but people aren't pushing up the right way, or this guy isn't playing this right, or these two's chemistry is just awful. They're just a bunch of birds. These are the problems you're going to be running into. So quick example here, just right off the bat. Quick example. Okay, look at ambush. So I always talk about ambush because number one, they're the number one team. Number two, they're the best players in the game. So let's take a look at ambush. Right, you have formal and snipe down. Formal and snipe down are both notorious for sniper rifles. For their sniper rifles, they have the ability of changing games. They have the ability to always hit shots. They have the ability of just making you feel useless because they are putting on such a show for the viewer and for their team. Now, everyone's known Snipe Down is the premier sniper just right about currently, just because of what he did at AGL 6 at Pittsburgh. If you haven't seen it, Team Slayer Haven, I think he had about 2 snipers and he had 9 headshots. In competitive play, that's impressive. Anyways, so everyone knows Snipe Down's like the sniper. But you know what? He doesn't get the sniper off the beginning for his team on every single map. Think about that. Everyone knows Snipe Down for his sniper, yet he doesn't even pick up the sniper off the beginning of the game for his team because Formal does better with it off the beginning of the game. So you know what he does? He goes and finds a DMR. That, my friends, that is exactly what I'm talking about. That is exactly how you should be. You can't have a concrete mind in Halo. You have to always be versatile. You have to be willing to change on the drop of a dime. You have to do what's best for your team, or you're never gonna fucking win. And that's a problem that so many people fall into. But they just overlook it. They're like, "Yeah, fuck it. I want sniper." It's not how it works. And so there's the example of what I mean by versatility. So now let's take it back a little bit here. Now, in traditional Halos, mainly we're talking Halo 2 and Halo 1. Halo 3 was different. There was a lot of different team comps that worked, but looking at Halo 2 here, Halo 2, we saw a bunch of different team compositions that actually worked. You had what Carbon used, which is what we used. Excuse me. God, I'm dying. What Carbon used back in the day was one main slayer, me. We had an objective player, Shockwave. We had a support player, Karma, and then we had an X Factor, Ghost. And what we told Ghost is whoever's sucking ass, you do what they're doing. And he was like, okay. So if Karma wasn't getting in good positions, or if he was getting destroyed in the game, he would start supporting. If Shockwave couldn't get to the ball, or if Shockwave got carried away, he would grab the ball. If I was sucking at main lane, he would grab the brainer. He was the filler, right? So that's the first one you saw. The second one you saw was kind of the second one you saw was the 07 final boss. So 07 final boss, you had Walshy as the objective player, you had Strong Side the Slayer, and then you had Ogre 1 and Ogre 2, right? And it's like, obviously they're Slayers, but obviously they do objective work too. So Ogre 2 would also get the sniper, Strong Side would get the sniper, and Ogre 1 would always have the ability to get the sniper. So it's a much different team composition. So right there, it's almost more like one main slayer, one objective, and then two main slayers. Or two fillers, sorry. So the two fillers. Now, when I talk about a filler, so this is exactly what a filler is, even though I just explained it with Ghost Ayami. A filler is someone who literally is just going to pick up the slack for someone who's not doing well on the team. Now, this is traditional Halo. I don't think that works necessarily in this game anymore, and I'll tell you why. So a filler was someone who would just come around and help out where needed. Grab the rockets, watch the portal, run the flag, things like that. That is what the filler would do. Now, as teamwork evolved, because in Halo 1, you didn't really talk much about team shot, but in Halo 2, you started talking about team shot. So going into Halo 3, everyone knew about team shot and everyone knew about communication, so they started to get a little bit better with their positioning, their calls. They were more articulate, they were more methodical with their approach. In 4v4, 2v2s in Halo 1 were the most methodical thing in the world. But so, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and in Halo 3, there's a lot of different team comps, and I don't even know if I can. There was a lot. We'll leave it at that. But so moving forward here, right? Looking at Pulse, and we're gonna take Pulse, and then we'll also take Warriors too, just for the shits and giggles, right? Looking at they're not Pulse. I'm sorry, excuse me. Ambush. Looking at Ambush, you have two main slayers. You have 4-1 snipe them. And then you have, I guess, a filler with Pistola. I don't even know what I would technically call Pistola, because Pistola is like a main slayer, but a dirty work dude. I guess he's a filler. I guess if there's one person I can call a filler, would be Pistola. So you got two main slayers. You got a filler in Pistola, and then you have Richie Hines, which is the objective player, support player. Now, Richie Hines' position is imperative to the team composition, and the reason it's imperative is because Richie moving the way he does, Richie being selfless the way he does, Richie being so smart that he knows the best routes to get from his base to the flag, to listen to call-outs and respond and know how to navigate around the map to get in the best possible position. He doesn't care about fucking kills. He cares about winning the game, which is something that everyone should worry about. He doesn't care. He can go 2, 12, and fucking 8, and he's happy because he got the win. Of course, obviously, he's never going to get 2 kills unless something just crazy astronomical happens. But this is the point. The point is that he goes for the W. And a lot of amateurs have a hard time going with that approach. And the one thing I notice, what I have noticed throughout my 11 years of competitive play history, is that people, when the support role kind of gets thrown in there, a lot of people use it as an excuse. They'd be like, oh, well, I'm the support player on the team, so that's what you got to pick me up. And I was like, are you really the support player? And then I would play games with them. Like, I would go into hardcore, like MLG playlist in Halo 3, and they would be grabbing sniper, and I'm like, dude, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. They just use it as a scapegoat. And the support role is so important, dude. It really is. And because of the support role, you have to be, because of that support role, your team's going to benefit from it. But the problem is at the amateur level, I don't know if you can have a support player. The reason is because people in the amateur level have a hard time wrapping their brain around the fact that someone is helping out the team in more ways than they can think besides stats. And that is the most critical lesson you can learn for the rest of your fucking life. Right there. He's like a fucking point guard in basketball if you guys watch that sport. I don't, but I can use it as an analogy. The support player sets up the main slayer to dominate. He runs the flags. He does every single thing. Support player / objective player. This is Richie Hines. This is, well, I would say it was Rynoob. Rynoob's kind of the same way. I'm assuming Goofy's going to kind of mold into that for Warriors. But so, you have these kind of players. And until amateur players realize that support players are a necessity, I don't know if I don't know if you guys will ever be able to want to be a support player. I really don't. My best advice, I mean, I climbed through the ranks fast in Halo 1 to get to where I was at in Halo 2. Snipedown kind of did the same thing. I would say everyone just become fucking maid slayers, but it's just not how it fucking works. The most important thing you can tell a team if you are a support player is to say, hey, listen, I'm not going to have the best stats. When we lose, I'm going to go super negative. But when we win, I'm going to definitely be the fucking main reason we won because I'm putting everyone in a better position. Perfect. You don't need no more than that. But so that's why I feel bad for amateur players because it's really hard for them to identify roles because if you're a support player, everyone just knows your stats. And they kind of take that for granted and they also abuse that. So they're like, I saw what you did at fucking AJ on Nashville, you trash can. You played like a big old bird and fucking just awful player. And you're like, dude, I was a support player and I dropped fucking 12 assists in game 3. Sorry, my team fucking sucked and I also had 10 kills. Right? It's little things like that just kind of irk me. But so let's talk about finding your play style, right? So let's say you join a team. Let's say you form a team, actually, right? So I form a team. I'm a main slayer. That's what I want to do. That's what I think is the best for the team. Okay? So we get in there, and, I have 3 other supporting casts. Now, we'll just put names to faces, names to blank faces. So let's say I form a team. It's me, Maven, Hoss, and Ardizo. Okay? You guys don't know Ardizo. It's Hoss's cousin. He's the one who originated. We love you, but we don't love you. You're always going to hear me say it. It's hilarious. So let's say it's those 4. Right? So us 4. We form the team. I'm the main slayer. Maven's number 2. Hoss, Maven's the second main slayer, right? He doesn't grab sniper off the beginning, but if I start sucking with her, the game's on the line, he's going to grab it. This is the exact same setup that that Ambush uses for their current team. So they have 2 main slayers. They have 1 sniper at the beginning of the game, which is formal, and then when the game's on the line, it's snipe down. Then they have pistolers, the filler. So the filler for us would be Hoss, right? And then we have the support player / objective player, which would be Ardizo, which is the equivalent of Richie Hines. So let's say we start playing, right? I get the sniper off the beginning. Things aren't going well. I'm missing. It's not that I'm missing shots. It's more or less my positioning because even if you miss shots with the sniper rifle, you still have the ability to take the game over just alone by your positioning. Because who gives a shit? You're not always going to hit every shot, and I mean eventually you'll get to that point. You'll be to the snipe downs. You'll be to the ninjas, the formals, but it's not about that. Really, when you make your presence known as a main slayer, you're doing it all. You put the sniper away. You have to. The number one thing you can learn as a main slayer is when to put that fucking sniper away and pull out the BR and lay down some fire. It takes a long time, and I said that word very, very weird, but it takes a very long time to learn that lesson, and it's something that you have to beat into your head, and it's something that does not come easy. So when you're sitting there, all right, and so I'm sitting there, and we're pushing up and everything, and I'm hanging out way too far in the back. Like, let's just take a drift. They're all pushing up on the flag. I'm sitting fucking second door, our second door, just trying to shoot their first door. Okay, it's a decent play. But, we don't get the flag cap, and then I lose, right? So then, we talk about it after the game, and the number one person you should be listening, there's 2 people you should be listening to on the team, really, because it's 2 people who see the game completely different on your team. The 2 people you should be listening to is 1, the support player, and support / objective. The reason you listen to that player is because he's going to be in their base. He's going to see things a lot differently. Okay, he's going to know when he should push up. He's going to know when he's not getting help, when he needs help. And then, like I said, the best way to win a game is to have your support player unleash your main slayers. And also objective work, obviously. The objective is how you win fucking games. So Ardizo comes to us and he goes, hey man, listen, this isn't how it's working. I'm dying every time I get in their base. You guys have to push up. Then the second person you have to listen to is the main slayer. And the reason you want to listen to the main slayer is because 1, he has a knack of moving around the map, which is better than every single other person in or on his team. That's the first one. So he's going to know the routes. He's going to know how to position himself. He's also going to know where to accumulate the most kills possible, right? So basically, that's going to be the best angles. So you take a fucking fusel between these two people, right? So you have the support player's idea, and then you have the main slayers, and then you kind of fuse them together. So let's say we switch things up. Let's say I'm just too passive of a player. And this is something that I notice all the time. When I walked around AGL Pittsburgh, I saw so many people grabbing snipers off the beginning of the game, just playing like such passive pussies. And I have this problem in this game. In Halo 4, it's one of my problems. And that's why, even though I always go for sniper off the beginning, if you guys watch me stream, it's one of my problems. It's what I do. I'm just a passive player. I guess I don't have enough faith in my shot yet. So, everyone can kind of relate to that. Because when you have the sniper, you want to be passive, you want to hang out, and just fucking scope across the map and rip someone's face off. Good job, bro. But I'm too passive of a player. And I go, alright, fuck it. I don't want the sniper off the beginning of the map. Maven, you take the sniper. Maven goes, alright, fuck it. So Maven takes the sniper, and I start taking over Maven's route. And what's going to happen is it's similar to a change of anything. You know when you... I can use a hockey reference, but... Yeah, fuck it, I'll use a hockey reference. I know you guys hate that shit. I know it sucks when you do a sports reference for every fucking thing in Halo. But so sometimes a small minor change is perfect, right? Just for you as a player. So if it's something as simple in hockey as pulling your goaltender, and all of a sudden you guys get fired up awesome, or a fight, right? Fight breaks out and you guys are all fucking happy. But in this case, it's something more like moving a person from center to left winger, or left winger to right winger. It's those little things that are going to fucking change the world of difference, right? And I think that's something that's very, very important. So Maven starts grabbing the sniper, and I start pushing up in their base, and I start noticing things a little bit differently. I start noticing, hey, fuck, we're winning games now. You have to realize when your playstyle is fucking your team. That is how you find your playstyle. That is the lesson to learn here, ladies and gentlemen. Until you figure out what's the best way for your team to win games based on the way you play, you're fucked. You're going to be in the biggest playstyle dilemma of all time. And the best thing I can say is if you're a sniper, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. If every time you grab the sniper that your team loses 70% of the games, give the fucking sniper up. If you lose 60% of the games, if you lose 50% of the games, give it the fuck up. Right? You're not making a big enough impact. You just aren't. Well, I guess 50% would be, I would say. Well, online, but taking LAN into consideration, I would say, yeah. If you're losing 50% of the games on LAN versus equal competition, or you're slightly better than them, then I'd say give the fucking sniper up. And then on the other side, right, there's a lot of players who end up being too objective friendly, right? There's times where, I know this happens to Maven all the time, like we get down and he's not doing well, so he's just like, fuck it, I'm going straight for the extraction and no one's going to fucking stop me, and he gets one-minded, and then in this scenario, he is the objective player, right? Because that's what he wants to do. But the big thing he's missing is the fact that he's changing his playing style so much just for that objective that he's fucking everyone else on the team. Everyone can relate to that. Everyone has that guy who just beeline straight for a flag or beeline straight for the hill in King of the Hill when King of the Hill wasn't fucking broken. Everyone's familiar with this guy, but it's just not... It's not a guy you want to hang out with. You don't want to go to the bar and grab a drink with the guy who's running in a beeline to a fucking hill, you know? God, I hate that guy. But so, if you notice that that's your playstyle, switch it up. It's not for you. If you're one directional, right? If you're only focused on one thing the entire game, you can't be a support player. You can't be support/objective player. You just can't. Richie Hines is so versatile. Richie Hines, if you're a support objective player, go watch him play at all times. All times. Because he knows everything. You'll notice from his play style that he either goes super fucking awesome, right? He's like a super awesome game for Richie Hines would be like, let's just take a team slayer. It would be like 13 13, 10, and like 8. Like that's a stellar game for him, right? Like seriously, it's like a really, really, really good stat. But then on his team, he's gonna have fucking Snipe Down or Formal going like 20 and fucking 8. And you're like, oh wow, Richie, you suck. But so Richie, the support objective player has to do 2 things. They have to do a couple things, and the 2 things they have to do is they have to have the ability of 1, being sneaky, 2, listening to callouts and making their routes on the fly, and 3, knowing when to do the objective. And the third one is something that is very, 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 very hard. Very hard. And a lot of people have a hard time understanding that, but if you're one of those players who can't understand that, don't do fucking objective. Don't. Just cut it out. It's too important. You're just going to fuck your team over. Don't do it. Try a different role. Try filler. I think the majority of amateur players, when I think long and hard about it, the majority of amateur players are mostly fillers. And then you have the people who think they're like snipers, whatever. But, when you're a filler, everyone can kind of relate to this. When you're the filler of the team, because I've been playing filler recently anyways. When you're the filler of the team, that is when you end up, doing a little bit of everything. You grab a sniper, you're pushing flag, grabbing rockets, you're making flanks on the enemy team, you're grabbing flag again, you're getting the extractions, you're putting yourself in position. Awesome. Now, the one thing that I am going to tell you to end this video out, and it's something that all the pros know, and the only reason I talked about positions is because the guy really wanted me to talk about positions, or play styles, rather. The problem is that when you get to the super high competitive play level, it's not as simple as, it's not set in stone like the way I'm talking about it. It really is not. The main thing when you get to the professional level is that everyone has to be able to know how to do every single thing. Now, can Richie Hines snipe? Fucking yes. There's games where we play with Richie Hines online where it's like me, Maven, Richie, and Hoss, or me, Maven, Richie, and Ola, who Richie will drop like 28 kills in a team slayer just because he has a sniper. He's disgusting with it, okay? Something a lot of people don't know. His sniper's disgusting, but it's not what's best for his team, so he doesn't fucking grab it, okay? When you get to that level, that is when everything changes. When you get to that pro level where you have to win every individual battle, where you have to make every call out, where your coach has to be perfect with his calls, where you have to know when to run the flag or you fucking throw the game, that is when everything changes. It is the best circuit in the world. It is the most intense feeling in the world as well. It is mentally stimulating because you always have to be thinking. You do. When you're done with the 5-game series, a lot of pro players can attest to this. Like a full 5 games are played, they're pretty mentally drained. 11-game series, they are completely fried, and it is very hard to come back from. So when you get to that level, you have to be able to do everything. And what this message should be conveying to every single person here is the fact that you're never going to get to the level you want to be by only being good at one position. And I know everyone always says you can be, good at everything or amazing at one thing. Well, yeah, you can still be amazing at one thing, but you have to be able to do a little bit of everything. If you're a main slayer, right, and this is something that I see the most. If you're a main slayer and you don't do any objective work or you have no fucking clue how to do it, rest in pieces. You're fucked. No team's going to want to play with you. You're going to be a statter. You're not going to contribute much to your team, and you're going to be rest in pieces. And then you're going to be that guy who sits around and says, I can't find a good team. I don't get it. Oh, God. And everyone knows that guy. That guy sucks. He's a whiny little emo bitch. But you know what? There's a reason for it. Learn to do some fucking objective work. Stop being a bitch. So, moral of the story here is yes, there are positionings. Yes, you should have a single role on your team. When you look at when you look at ambush, you're gonna have that. you do have roles on that team. You really, really do. But the thing is when you get to that super high competitive level, one thing matters, and the one thing that matters is you have to be versatile, and you have to be able to really change your play style to any single thing possible, because at any time in that game, everything can change. All right, well, that's going to do it for Gandhi's Thoughts number 39. I don't know if I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm probably going to wait till Monday for Gandhi's Thoughts 40. I think I'm going to do a podcast either tonight or tomorrow with Arsonist, because he wants to talk a lot about V4 settings and something. He wants to bitch about Ghost Ayami, so I always find that fun. I always like to find people who are really pissed off about something and bring them on the show, because it's the best. That's when you get that real mojo right there. But so, anyways, episode 40, I am going to be doing a recap of the end of 2005 since Carbon acquired Strong Side, our decisions, and why Sergio quit, to all the way through 2006. 40 is a big one. I love you guys. Take it easy. We love you, but we don't love you.